Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to TechGig webinar series, our endeavor to empower techies. We believe that sharing of knowledge is the key to enhance our skills and grow us as professionals. With this principle in mind, we have initiated a series of webinars conducted by industry experts to give you all a crisp insight of various domains. The topic of today's session is Master Data Management, MDM. Our guest speakers today are Kapil Sapra, General Manager, DWBI Group, Fiserv India, and Swapnil Verma, Systems Designer, Fiserv India. Kapil Sapra is heading DWBI Group in Fiserv India for last 3 years. Prior to this, he has been part of Indian IT giants working for various clients in North America and ASPAC region. In his 13 years of experience, he has co-architected large data warehouses for various clients. His specialization includes data governance, master data management, and data warehouse business intelligence. He is actively involved in various professional analytics managements for Fiserv. Swapnil Verma is managing various DWEI projects in Fiserv India for last 2.5 years. Prior to this, he has been part of leading IT giants working for various clients in North America. In his 8 years of experience, he has furnished various solutions for analytics, core banking data migration, intelligent investment banking, and health insurance. His specialization includes data management, data quality, and data warehouse business intelligence. He is actively involved in various data management engagements for Fiserv. So without further delay, I introduce you all to our guest speaker. Over to you, Kapil and Swapnil.
Thank you. Can I share my screen now?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Today the topic that we are going to cover is master data management. It's a very hot topic which is there in the industry right now. Almost all the companies, all the organizations, whether it's a manufacturing, whether it's retail, logistics, supply chain management, they all meet and they all have been doing this in various forms and fashions, master data management. But this particular stream has gained a lot of importance now when the data is becoming really, really important. It is said that after crude oil, data is the second best asset in human race, you can say. So it is so much data that master data has to be managed. So today we are going to cover about the master data management. The agenda that we have includes, you can see the agenda slide, yeah. So we are going to talk about what is MDM, the basic definitions, definition of master data. We are going to clearly articulate what is the difference between MDM solution and a classic data warehouse that we know of in the past. One particular stream that we have picked up is process-driven MDM. We are going to talk a little detail into it. We are going to talk about the various processes under a PDMM or various pillars under a PDMM. They are the vision, strategy, matrix, governance, organization, and technology infrastructure. Finally, we are going to talk about various architectures for MDM, hub being one, and there are other architectures. Probably in the agenda slide we have just written one, but there are 3 architectures we are going to talk about. Over to Swapnil, who is going to walk the first part of the presentation. Swapnil.
Thank you, Kapil. So, the hot topic of our today's agenda is what is master data management. And so, master data management comprises a set of processes and tools that defines and manage our master data. Master data management is a comprehensive method of enabling an enterprise data to one critical data to one single file, which is called master file. If the purpose of MDM solution is to streamline data sharing among personals and the department, which is more important because master data management allows all the business units to talk in a very truthful and very trustworthy manner among themselves. If the data they are dealing with is consistent and of a good quality, they can achieve streamline and data sharing effectively. So the obvious question now is that what is master data? So as we said, master data is a comprehensive method. Master data management is a comprehensive method of enabling an enterprise to link all its critical data. So any essential data for a business process is, we can call it the master data. So let's go to the next slide. So the key challenge we have usually in master data management is to identify, like how we identify master data. So think of a master data as a nouns of a business transaction. For example, if a business transaction statement is like John Smith buys a red shirt and ships it to a home address. So master data nouns in this transaction sentence are John Smith, the red shirt, and the shipping address. The verb beings are the buys and ships. So the master data elements are people, place, and things. So in more technical terms, the customer address, and the product customer buys. But we cannot say all nouns can be treated as master data. And to identify what noun can be considered as master data, we have a following requirement. One being a lot of data. If a company has 15 products, you cannot call that product list as a master data. So it should be a lot of data where you need to consider the master data. And if those 15 products are not changing, it's a constant data, then you will also not consider them as a master data. It should be volatile in nature. The most important thing that it should bring a lot of value to the organization, because master data management requires significant amount of time, energy, and money. So the data we are managing should bring enough return of investment to consider them as a master data. And the last but not least is it should be reusable. When I say reusable, it means if a customer orders something and provides the home address, the same address will be used for the delivery, as well as it will be also used the billing system to calculate the sales tax. So that the customer address should be reusable in multiple systems, multiple applications. So that's how we will identify master data. Coming to the next slide, there's often a confusion over what type of technology we should be using to address our very similar looking problem. And what is those similar looking problems? Those problems are we need to integrate applications, we need to integrate data, we need to provide better quality of data to our business users. And often people get confused over what we should be choosing. We should be using master data management or we should be delivering the data warehouse, because those two, data cleansing and communicating with and integrating various applications, requires in both these technologies. But there are key differences in these two technologies. These differences are the purpose of the usage, database design and data volume, the ownership and type of data they deal with. For example, data warehouse, the purpose of any data warehouse solution is for the analytics and the business intelligence. Whereas in MDM, it is to improve the operational effectiveness and value creation and the risk mitigation. When I say to improve the operational effectiveness, we'll come to know more when we talk about process-driven MDM. The data warehousing solutions are used to support business intelligence and the analytics, but it never used to support transactional activities. It may get the data from different transactional source system, but it the end users are never those transactional systems. Whereas in MDM, the main usage of MDM solution is to reconcile semantic differences to provide a single view of master data, usually for operational purpose, which is independent of any single application system. That means it provides across organization. The use of MDM is across organization, not limited to one application. Database design and data volume in data warehouse is usually, the design wise it's typically denormalized and deals with a lot of volume of data. In MDM it's typically normalized because it's a usage is the operational and transactional systems. And we deal comparatively less amount of data as compared to data warehouse. Another key difference between these two initiatives is the ownership. Who owns these initiatives? Data warehouse in general always be managed by the IT with the help of business users and business analysts, whereas MDM solution has to be governed, initiated and maintained by a very influential business leader. The reason we'll talk more about why the ownership is non-IT in the next segment when we discuss process-driven MDM. The type of data in data warehouse we see master data, we see reference data, and we see transactional data, which becomes about factual data, aggregated data. And in MDM solution, it's mostly master data and to support related reference data. In the next slide, we have this pictorial diagram where we can clearly see in the left side data warehouse is dealing with as a source system with the various applications, various source. These source systems may belong to different groups of within an enterprise, and we have an ETL layer where we integrating all this data to enrich the data and provide to support either data mining or reporting or collapse analysis. Whereas the key usage of the MDM application is that to provide a single version of a truth by storing master data in a centralized repository or keeping the master data in a different each source system. We discuss more about where to keep master data when we discuss about MDM hub architecture. So when we know more when to use master data in a centralized repository or when to store master data in the source system itself. Please note that our DWBI can be a consumer for our master data hub. Coming to the next topic, which is process-driven MDM. Consider a scenario of a tire manufacturing plant. In tire manufacturing plant, we have a new type of tires being generated. Some of them are discontinued, and so on. Because of some data inconsistency, marketing and sales people, the sense of advertisement for a discontinued bus, and those customer care unit for the ordering system, and they posted the bulk amount of those orders, only to know that those tires are not exist anymore. They are because they have been discontinued. The common problem illustrated here is that it's just a data, or there is a problem with the entire ordering process. The main problem here is not just the inconsistency of data, but there's a problem that product team is not synced with the marketing and sales team. It is like the left in organization, left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. And the impression of the retail and dealers is that these guys don't even know if they have the flyer, but they want to send this flyers and advertisement to them. To overcome this process, we have a process-driven MDM. The objective of process-driven MDM is to improve business process by improving the quality of data they use. In the tire manufacturing example, the error can be reduced in ordering process by improving the master data quality with a good MDM solution. So the emphasis on not just about the data or not just enriching the data, but emphasize on the improving the business process improvement. Coming to the next slide, I invite Kapil to take over from here.
Sure. Thank you, Swapnil. So basically, when we say MDM, the solution is a process-driven MDM. Actually, if you look more deeply, the problem is never with the data. The problem is always with the process. And actually, there is only one way of doing MDM, that is process-driven MDM. So that's why we are talking about process-driven MDM. If we see, if you have to do process-driven MDM in any organization, IT or manufacturing or whatever, these are the key pillars, and we have listed down the pillars at the top. We have to have a vision, we have to have a strategy / blueprint, we have to have our organization buy-in, we have to have governance, we have to have a technology and infrastructure to do a process-driven MDM. So we'll discuss each of these points in detail in the upcoming slides. So basically, moving to the next slide, that is vision. Now, if we, without the vision, it's like we are trying to improve master data, but for what? It's like trying to find answer without the problem. Having a key in the hand, but we don't know which lock to put it. So basically, the vision is we have to understand which process we are trying to improve, which process or which kind of organization we are in, what kind of master data we need to focus on. Now, this is a very high level strategic thought, but if we come to a tactical level, how do you determine that for your organization, what is the right way? Then a tactical framework is value discipline framework, which we have put in the left-hand corner of this slide. Now, what this value discipline framework does, it says that every organization is different. For example, for a manufacturing organization, a faster product introduction or improvement in a supply chain or maybe improvement in procurement could be the main objective that they are looking for, or a CEO is looking for. Whereas for a financial services organization, it may be customer centricity, that I want to improve my customer experience. When my customer goes to a branch, he goes to an ATM, he goes to a banking application on his mobile. I want to give you this to target for your organization's MDM initiative. So in the vision, we have to identify which process is getting affected. And the process has to be a critical process in the organization. And how do you identify the critical process in the organization? By determining the nature of the organization. Okay? So then in this value discipline framework, it is easy to determine that, okay, what exactly I want to do. I want to achieve a best total cost. I want to achieve a best total solution, or I want to give my best product. For example, it's a research organization. So maybe the focus is totally on the kind of the product that comes out. It's like a Mercedes-Benz or Rolls-Royce, that I want to create a car which is the best for my particular identified customer. Whereas in a different way, in a Maruti kind of an organization, it may be cost effectiveness or operational excellence may be the key. In a mobile or in a financial services where customers come directly in touch, their customer intimacy is the key process that you will have to improve. So take away from this slide is we have to identify the process. We have to identify what are the master data in that process. That we can determine by going back to the slide 2 where Swapnil talked about nouns but not necessarily all the norms. They have to be volatile and all the 5 parameters that he gave. Third thing is, at this we have to determine the information life cycle. So that is very important because master data keeps getting created, enhanced, modified, deleted, used in the organization. If you go to any organization, say a policy seller or insurance policy seller, the customers keep getting added. There is a prospect list. There are customers who leave the policy. There are customers whose policy gets expired. So customers are everywhere. There are so many systems that have customer data. And the key problem is we have to determine that where exactly the customer record is getting created, where exactly customer record is getting modified, and where exactly it gets purged, deleted, or goes to the older system. So that is, vision is very important because we are focusing on a process. Once vision is there, the second step is come up with a strategy to achieve that vision. Now the vision could be a very high level vision to which we have to have somebody champion. We have to have somebody own that vision. So that is very important part. In the previous slide I should have mentioned that we need to have owner of that vision. The owner typically has to be somebody very senior up in the organization. And also all the board members have to comply with that vision. Once that vision is created, the second step is that we have to create a strategy. Now that strategy involves things like how to convert that vision into a reality. That is what the strategy is. So a good style is that you have to define the scope. You create for that particular process what is the scope that you are trying to handle. What are the key performance indicators that will eventually give you the return on your investment. So at this juncture only, at the strategy juncture only, the return of investment has to be identified. That what exactly are you looking at, what is relevant to your organization's industry and sector. What use cases are we talking about? Okay. So out here we have to be very, very clear as what are we trying to do. We are trying to increase the growth, then the growth has to become a KPI. We are trying to improve efficiency, then those parameters have to become KPIs. We are trying to mitigate any risk, then that has to become a KPI. And once we define the scope and the success criteria, the second step would be define MDM journey. So by that what I mean is we have to understand that where are we now? Which maturity are we doing in the entire master data management? When we define the master data management life cycle, that where it is getting created, where it is getting changed, where it is getting deleted, we have to identify what level of maturity our organization is at. It can be an undisciplined manner where nothing is managed. It can be a discipline, it can be organized, it can be governed. So there are various levels of maturity organization can be in. So we have to determine where we are because we have to start the journey somewhere and it may not be the right place to start. We may have to go back and then revisit where we should have started, but we have to start a journey somewhere. Also, we have to determine that how we are going to reach where we want to reach. That is, we have to define what our improved master data life cycle would be. If current processes that the customer gets created and there are 3 places to do it, then we have to define that eventually what we need is only 1 place to create it and 5 places to modify it and only 1 place to delete it. If there are 5 places where customer record is getting deleted, then that is not the right life cycle where we want to go. So define improved master data life cycle. Also, out here itself at the strategy level itself, we have to identify high level owners of that, because this will include multiple departments. Typically one process that we are saying is the customer data creation in an insurance company. Now that will involve sales people, that will involve operations people, that will involve underwriters, claims managers, so many people. So many people are getting involved, so multiple departments are getting involved. That's why we have to identify at this stage what all departments will be involved. Now that is the second pillar, and again highlighting some of the points that I might have already stated. Now MDM solution should be business owned and business driven. We have to define process optimization, like customer record is getting created at 5 places, so it should be created at only 1 place or 2 places. Program scope is directly driven by process optimization need. So again, our focus is not that the data has to be like this. our focus has to be, the process has to be like this. So always, like in the tire manufacturing example that we gave, the focus doesn't has to be that okay, I should have a status database field which updates whether the focus should be, has to be a central place where master data for the tires gets managed between the marketing department and my sales department. The people sending out the flyers and the people actually who are taking the orders. So there has to be a sync in between them. So MDM should follow a cross-disciplinary approach involving people from different functions or business areas. That's what I mentioned, that we have to identify stakeholders, because the process may involve multiple departments. Now again, once you define a strategy, you have to go back to your organization and create a business case. Now this business case becomes very, very important, because unless you have a business case for MDM, the organization is not going to sponsor it. As simple as that. So how do you identify a business case? The key steps are these 8 given on the left hand side. We have to identify strategy, stakeholders, as I just told you. Select metrics. Now select metrics becomes very important. That is nothing but the key performance indicators. So these key performance indicators have to be shown in certain metrics, dashboards. And what you should do tactically is, all these metrics have to be aligned to organization metrics. And I'll give you an example. For example, MDM metrics could be accuracy, consistency, believability, whereas the corporate metrics could be revenue, growth. So they have to be tied back. That says that accuracy of these 3 processes are going to result into the growth like this. So the dashboards have to be linked to the business process, followed by strategic process, followed by the corporate process. So the matrix definition becomes very, very important. Then you have to baseline the performance, that okay, with the current process, the matrix shows this much, that I am able to sell 10 tires a month with my current process. So that is how it has to be linked, that this is my current performance, and where I want to go, that I want to sell 14 tires in a month or whatever. Describe capabilities. We have to clearly define the capabilities of various departments in the business case, and negotiate improvements. Convert to financial results. As I mentioned, that has to be mapped to the corporate or financial goals. Then total cost of ownership. We have to develop the, okay, what is it going to cost when we are going to develop an MDM solution. And hard dollar return on investment. When we say that we are going to increase the sales of tires by 40%, that means hard dollar return on investment. Okay. So review of organization, who does what, that is very important. Create a business-led governance structure, communication, training, and change management. Now change management comes in organization also, and in governance also, and we'll talk more about it there. Now obviously that when we are doing a process-driven MDM, certain processes have to change. So people have to be flexible enough to adapt to that change that is going to come to them. So today if they are doing a thing certain way, tomorrow once we introduce the process-driven MDM, they will have to do the same thing in a different way. They are entering into order processing system, they might have to enter into a central system where the data is made available to multiple parties. So governance. Now all said and done, governance is very much needed in any kind of data management initiative. MDM is moreover more important, because here the issues are that when we actually start doing MDM, the problems that come are data quality. Now customer name, my name is Kapil. In one of the systems, when I buy policy from a particular, say Reliance, they store my name as first name followed by last name. And when I buy my child policy, they store it by my last name followed by my first name. Or they put it as my middle name also there, Kapil Kumar Sapra, something like that. So there are issues like that for which we need to tie back. My various systems have different kind of nomenclatures, different kind of standardization, they have to tie back. So data quality becomes very important. Data stewardship becomes very important. Metadata management becomes very important, and data security becomes very important. These 4 are the key pillars for doing the data governance in any kind of data management initiative. And in process-driven MDM, when we are doing process-driven MDM, it by nature of the work, it provides us early identification of roles because we are targeting a process, not the data. In data warehouse, we are targeting the data with data. Whereas in process-driven MDM, we are targeting a process. Right? Now we are targeting, for example, this tire manufacturing process. So we understand that who all is involved. We understand that the purchase order department is involved, the sales department is involved, the marketing department is involved. So it allows us to early identify roles and responsibilities of all stakeholders because that becomes very difficult. And data quality becomes very important, as I mentioned. So moving to the next slide. The last or maybe the most important component of a pillar of process-driven MDM is technology. Now we have identified the process, we have identified the people who are going to do it, we have identified the data quality required, we have identified the data security required, we have done all that. But without the right technology, there is no use. Now technology decision becomes very important. Most of the organizations are doing MDM today also, but in various forms and fashions. Some have their homegrown technology, some are using a tool from the market. The right way of doing it is mix and match, obviously, but we have given some guidelines as what should be the right way of choosing a technology. So any solution you do, maybe you do a homegrown solution or you buy it from market, or there are a lot of solutions, Microsoft, Oracle, all have Informatica, they all have a MDM capability built inside them and they come up with that solution. But what you should look for is that the solution should have a data model. The data model should be able to manage any complex relationships and maps to master customer information of the whole organization. Now customer is a very right example. The customer spreads across organization. So the data model should be able to capture everything. So it should have flexibility that I can define multiple complex relationships between that data. Information quality. So ideally my tool or technology should have a data quality module or a data quality processes which I can configure, business rules which I can configure for cleaning, matching, linking, identifying data from different sources. Customer data, address data, names, nomenclatures, when we get from the various sources, there are a lot of things required. Like Soundex is one of the key things that is required, which I remember from my experience. A lot of names, they are stored very differently and you can identify that they belong to the same person by using Soundex technology. Soundex is one of the part of the data quality tool. The third important piece of a data quality infrastructure, technology infrastructure is integration and synchronization. So basically, there has to be a middleware at the lower level that should provide integration to multiple type of technologies. For example, in one of the organizations, the customer data, some of the customer data is stored in files, other is stored in mainframes, other is stored in Java kind of tools. So if there is a lot of technologies, so your MDM solution or the set that you use, whether a Microsoft MDM solution or whatever, it should be able to have adapters to connect to all kind of variety of systems. So there should be an integration and synchronization. It should connect to a batch, real time, all kind of systems. Another thing is performance, scalability, and availability. So schedule rate is very high. The company is selling financial products and they had contracts. Now they write contracts for every client, and sometimes there are like hundreds of contracts written in a day. So if hundreds of records get generated in a day, the master data keeps changing, and you have to reflect that change in all the systems that are consuming that master data. So performance and availability becomes very, very important. Security is another aspect. Then business services. So more mature implementation have business services like service-oriented architecture and stuff. And technology based definitely is important. So that is all these 6 or 7 parameters are very important while selecting a technology infrastructure. So overall, these 5 pillars we have to look into when we are defining a process-driven MDM for any organization. And Swapnil will talk about what are the various architectures for doing the MDM.
Thank you, Kapil. So basically there are 3 different industry standard architecture available in the market. We can choose. We will learn more about them in upcoming slides. What is a repository, registry, and hybrid, and how to choose right MDM architecture for our solution. So, going with the repository architecture, as you can see in the diagram in the left hand side, all the master data has been stored in the centralized repository for all the applications. For example, sales, billing, distribution, order management, production. So all the master data is commonly stored in a single repository, and hence the name, the architecture name is the repository. So in the most obvious advantage of this architecture is it's very easy and simple and it's straightforward, that all we need to create a single repository for all the master data. Another advantage is that maintaining the consistent set of the master data has become very easy, because all you need to make a change in one centralized repository and it will get reflected everywhere. So there are few challenges with this repository style architecture. The common one is that it's not always easy or even possible to change your existing application to use the new master data. What does it mean by that? For example, you are using a third-party solution for customer relationship management, that's a CRM, or the billing, and you don't have any control over that application. You don't have the source code, or it's just not in your power to make any changes, so that whatever the master data is been stored in the central repository, how that application will access this instead of using its own master data. So the key challenge has become, it's not always easy or even possible to change existing application to use this new improved master data stored in the repository. Another challenge is the data model, because repository style architecture stores everything in one single repository. It should allow and satisfy all the information required for all the departments, all the different departments. So it becomes really tough decision to define which data models we should be using, and it may not be a very practical approach to implement. There will be another scenario that there will be a limited set of data, master data, which will be used by only between 2 or 3 groups, but not across the organization. Storing them in the repository will increase the maintenance cost of the overall engagement. So these are the few challenges with this type of architecture. To overcome the challenges, we have another style of architecture, that is a registry. As the name says, and if you can see that in the diagram as well, it's very opposite of the repository approach, because none of the master data is stored on the centralized location. The master data is remain in the individual applications, but only the key will be stored in the centralized location. So for example, if billing and order management, so all these key record will get linked to a new key, and this new key will be stored in the centralized location. So this new key will also known as a common key. So from a common key, we'll be able to access the same customer in all the different applications. So it overcomes the previous challenge we had, that if application is not able to, if we are not able to modify any application, we can still consolidate all the master data back to the registry. So advantage is no changes required in the current application, but there are few challenges. As none of the master data is there in the centralized repository, we need to query all the different applications to get the entire list of the data, and this query becomes very complex and distributed if the number of applications attached to the centralized repository is significant. The most significant issue is that the style assumes that a given database has only one record. For example, it just thinks that there is only one customer. For one customer, there is only one record in the sales data. But in the real ideal scenario, it's difficult. There is duplicate data for the same customer. How to manage this kind of data? To overcome this both challenge, we have the next architecture, which is the hybrid, as the name suggests. It implies we have master data in the centralized repository as well, and we have master data in the application as well. The hybrid model leaves the master data record in the application database, but maintains the key in MDM hub, as the registry model does. But it also replicates the most important attribute of each entity in the MDM hub. So if there are common master data, which is commonly used across organizations, for example, the product, customer, so we'll keep those important master data in centralized repository, and for the less common data, for example, product subtype, it may be used just in production database, or in the sales database in the application itself. So commonly used master data is in the centralized repository, and for uncommon and less common attributes, we have the keys. For them, we use keys as well. So it's a combination of keys plus commonly used master data will be stored in the centralized repository. So the advantage being it's a very flexible approach, and it's a flexible. So there's a new master data which may not be used before or more commonly, but now it's being used. We can keep enhancing, keep adding our centralized repository, we keep adding new master data and on. So it's very flexible in nature and very practical to achieve. But there is the unique challenge with this type of approach is that we don't have a repository and a registry style, is that it has to deal with the update and the application context. Because master data, the key master data is available. We have a copy of master data in centralized repository, and the actual master data has been created and enriched in the application as well. So every time a new customer or new product, new production product has been made, it has to be updated and synced to the common repository. So there will be a replication, or there will be a latency. It could be a day, it could be a minute, it could be a real time. That depends upon the master data, and that decision has to be made. So that is the key challenge. We will have a same data model issue with this repository model, because it should satisfy all the business needs of the different departments. Another key challenge, it's less technical with this approach, is by choosing what to keep in the centralized repository. Every group will think, I need to access this data and more effectively, because keeping them in a source system will create latency, and there will be a huge query needs to be issued across the department. So there will be a performance gap as well. So finding out what needs to be stored and what format they should be has become a bit challenging. Now, choosing what kind of architecture is good for our for any, how to choose an architecture for our solution. A registry model.
May I have your attention, please? New table technology people.
sorry for this, there was some communication. So how to registry model MDM is appropriate when only a limited number of non-performance critical queries involved. So when there is a, as we will be, there will be a keys in centralized repository, and through keys we will be accessing all the different master data. So it is appropriate when the query result is much faster and the number of such queries are very less. It also, we should choose a registry approach when our business leadership sees wants an early return of investment. Registries are not good when queries routinely return from attribute for many application database or there is enough duplication of data. So this is the key challenge with the registry, that if there is a duplication of data, how to manage those kind of data. So in that scenario, a pre-integrated and cleans data provided with a hybrid model is the good choice, because it will provide more efficient and consistent source of a master data. Repository style should be chosen if the application involved in MDM project is limited, because there is a risk of changes required, and because of it, if we have enough control over all the application to make the required modification. So, and the availability of authority and consistent master data provides enough business value to justify the time and cost required to build a repository model. Repository model, because it's concentrate all the master data in centralized repository, it will take enough. It will require a lot of time, money, and amount. So that is why it should make sense if it's justifying the return of investment. But in a practical scenario, we should always, as a best practice, we should always begin with the registry model and slowly go to hybrid approach. So begin with the registry approach of architecture and then move on to the hybrid style, and ultimately try to achieve the repository style, so that we have one version of truth across the organization. So this is it from us. Kapil, do you want to add something, Kapil?
No, that's all. I think please feel free to ask queries. We'll be happy to answer those. Okay. I have received certain queries. I'm trying to look. Okay. The first query is by okay. Raja Jeevan Kumar Madurai. It says, will there not be performance issues in the registry model MDM hub architecture? Won't there be issues of downtime using this model if there is dependent data spread across multiple databases? Or will the data be synchronized across applications? In registry, definitely there will be performance issues, and that's what was one of the points highlighted by Swapnil in the final last slide. So that is why, but the return of investment is really fast. In our organization, we did this for one of the single customer view kind of an application where we use registry-based approach, but it is not a long-term approach. It can be used to begin with if you're looking for a short-term solution, but long-term solution you have to eventually do a mix match of both registry and repository. The second question, I'll take it from Adyan Shukla. What is the incentive for companies who already have an SAP system? Well, SAP system takes care of certain needs. I think it will take care of your financials, it will take care of your HR and other things. But there would be other data definitely that will be outside SAP system. If your entire company is on SAP system, then it's a different thing.
So there's another question from Radha Jivan that he's asking, when you say integration, does it mean introduction of a middleware tool like IBM Data Stage, which performs the ETL function? It could, but there are different MDM solutions, for example, from IBM itself, which provides integration as well as the synchronization, data synchronization services. So the MDM solution we will choose, it should have the built-in integration function. In this technology slide, which Kapil mentioned, that the key thing was you do not need any third-party tool to integrate. You should have built-in functionality of integration.
Okay. There is another question by Priya Ranjan Kumar that says, where MDM can best be applied in which application domain? Priya, it can be applied to all domains, but I'm in finance and I've seen application of MDM in finance to a very great level. And one of the biggest example is customer data management. Single customer view is a standard problem across industry, whether it's a financial sector, insurance sector, retail sector, logistics sector. I was working for DHL, logistics company, then for American Express, credit card industry. Any kind of industry, you will see a MDM problem and an MDM solution. So,
there's a question, what is the drawback of MDM? The only thing I can say is it requires significant time of energy, and but it should be, if it's a process driven, it will give enough return of investment.
okay, I'll take another question. Long system. So I'll take this question. What are the problems surrounding the MDM implementation in the enterprises? Anand Mohapatra. Basically, people recognize the need of MDM solution little late. They start with a lot of transactional system. They start with a lot of different systems to solve different needs. Typically, IT systems are created for solving a business problem, but nobody looks at the bigger picture. Nobody looks at the holistic picture. Sometimes people propose data warehouse, whereas actually the need is only a MDM hub. Sometimes just to solve a standard master data problem, people propose a different kind of a solution. So I think just the awareness and right time for investment is what is required.
Yes. In addition to that, it is like often people concentrate on the data, not just the entire process. So they have a vision and they have a right vision, right which process needs to be streamlined and improved. That's the key challenge.
Yeah. One question is, does MDM has reporting facility like dashboards? Whatever we have seen Microsoft, Oracle, and IBM tools, and I think all of them have good dashboard facilities, but definitely there might be some tools which does not have it. Ideally, a good MDM solution should have a good dashboarding and reporting facilities. Manjunath Reddy, how important does data quality and unique customer ID for MDM, and what cost organizations need to spend for data quality? That's a very relative question. Data quality is something that you define for your organization, for your business problem, and it cannot be 100% accuracy. You have to live with certain amount of data issues, but you can define, say, 90% data should be accurate or 95% should be accurate, and that depends on the company. So that is how you determine the data quality. And investment, again, I would recommend to start with the simple solutions, homegrown solutions to begin with, but then go for Microsoft is a good option, I believe, nowadays, where it is giving a very question, but I'm not from Microsoft. I'm not selling. Microsoft, but I'm saying that according to me, the I'm trying to confuse between two problems, I believe. MDM can be one of the source because for doing any kind of data analytics, you are doing analytics on marketing campaign for launching a new product. Data of your client. So,
Kapil, can you hear me?
Kapil, your voice is breaking a lot.
Can be a source for big data analytics Hadoop environment, but that's about it. Don't know how much time does it take to build. It took us. Okay, am I clear? Hi, Moini.
Your voice is breaking a lot in between. Now we cannot hear you at all. Can you please dial in using the phone instead? Hello, can you hear me, Kapil?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me, Moini? I think the time is done. So should I dial into the phone or not? Slides is done and question answers are also done. Thank you. Yeah, sorry.
Are you using a phone? Using non-audible on the screen?
Yeah, time is up. So
Yeah, exactly. I realized that.
so how long back I was not audible? Is it like
The last question.
Thanks for the insightful presentation. It was indeed a great present. I would like to thank all of our participants for their support in making this webinar a success. The recording of the webinar will be available on techgig.com by tomorrow. Thank you all.